So we are multiplying and dividing radicals. Now you will remember that you can multiply and divide anything you wish. But when it comes to adding and subtracting, it's a little more difficult. Terms with square roots are treated like variables, where you cannot add or subtract square roots that are not identical. However, you can multiply anything you wish. So today, we're going to have to remember that we can't add things that have different square roots, but we can multiply everything else. So in our first problem, we have 7 times the square root of 2 times 5 times the square root of 2. Now, multiplication, the order in which you do multiplication does not really matter. For example, what is 3 times 2? 6. What is 2 times 3? So did it matter that you switched the order around? No. So what I'm going to do for this problem here is I'm going to switch the order. So we have 7 times the square root of 2 times 5 times the square root of 2. So I'm going to reorder this so I have the whole numbers next to each other, and I'm going to have the square roots next to each other. What is the square root of 7 times 5? Sorry, what is 7 times 5? 35. What is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Square root of 4, but square root of 4 is better known as 2. So we have 35 times 2. What is 35 times 2? 7. What? 70. Not 7, 70. Yeah. So there's your answer. Simple, really. So the next example we're going to take a look at, we have 7 times the square root of 42. Now, there are 2 ways to go about doing this, one much longer than the other. The first way is you just multiply them together. You could do square root of 7 times the square root of 42. And so 7 times 42 is, excuse me? 294. And then you'd have to reduce. But there's an easier way. Square root of 42 can be broken apart. I don't think I know of any perfect square factors of 42. But what does go into 42? 6 and 7. It's that 7 that's going to be important to us. So we have the square root of 7 times the square root of 6. And we're also multiplying it by the square root of 7. What is square root of 7 times the square root of 7? Okay, it's 7. So 7 times the square root of 6, and you're done. And that is it. The next problem that we're going to take a look at is this one right down here. And we'll leave the fractions for the next video. We have the square root of 8, and we're multiplying it to this binomial. Now, you cannot subtract the square root of 14 from 7 because they are different. It's like trying to subtract x's and y's. You can't do it. So we're going to have to distribute the square root of 8 to both terms. Square root of 8 times 7 is simply, yeah, Henry, you're right. Keep going. Yeah, it is 7 times the square root of 8 minus, what is the square root of 8 times the square root of 14? I'm going to write it this way. We have the square root of 8 times the square root of 14. Can I break the square root of 8 into 2 terms, even though they're not perfect squares? Or maybe there will be some perfect squares. Yes? Yeah, so we can have the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. How about square root of 14? Can I break that apart? 7 and 2. So we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 7. Well, what is the square root of 4? 2. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2 times the square root of 7.